Uh, Welcome to the classes of Vedic astrology. And right now, we are learning about what are the Yoga Karaka and what are the Maraka Grahas for all the Lagna charts, for all the ascendants. And till now, we have covered till Cancer Lagna. So before proceeding with this particular video, I will strongly suggest you to watch the last two videos because the topic that I'm discussing right now, it had already been started since the last two classes. And today's class will be a continuation of the last two classes. All right. So let's proceed further and let's understand about the Yoga Karaka and the Maraka planets for Leo Lagna. So whatever concepts and whatever processes I had discussed about this particular topic, that is Yoga Karaka and Maraka planets, I will not be discussing the same, repeating the same in this video. So again, I'm saying the same thing. Please watch the last two videos and then you come to today's video so that you will be having a perfect understanding and you will be in tune to whatever I'm saying regarding this particular topic. So for the Leo Lagna, if you can just pause the video and you can draw a Leo Lagna chart. So the first house is ruled by Leo, the second house is ruled by Virgo, the third house is ruled by Libra, the fourth house is ruled by Scorpio, the fifth house is ruled by Sagittarius, the sixth house is ruled by Capricorn, the seventh house is ruled by Aquarius, the eighth house is ruled by Pisces, the ninth house is ruled by Aries, the 10th house is ruled by Taurus, the 11th house is ruled by Gemini, and the 12th house is ruled by Cancer. So the first house that is ruled by Leo is the Lagnesh, means the Lagnesh here in this particular Leo Lagna chart is Sun. So Sun will be definitely a Yoga Karaka planet. So you can mention that in the note that you're writing it down. The second house is ruled by Virgo and the ruling planet of Virgo is Mercury. Now, the lord of the second house is a friend with the Lagnesh and thus Mercury also becomes a Yoga Karaka planet for Leo Lagna. Now let's come to the third house. Now the third house is ruled by Venus because the third house is, the lordship of the third house is coming under Libra. And Venus also rules the 10th house. So here Venus will be a Samgraha, alright, a Sam planet. So you can mention Venus in the Yoga Karaka column itself and just beside Venus you mention Sam. And also in the first video of this particular topic, I had already discussed how a Samgraha behaves when that particular graha is placed in a particular chart. So when a Samgraha becomes completely Yoga Karaka and in what circumstance a Samgraha can become Maraka, I had already discussed it, alright. So I'll suggest you to watch that video so that you will be able to understand how Venus will perform in this particular Leo Lagna chart. Let's come to the fourth house. Now the fourth house is ruled by Scorpio, that is Mars. And Mars is also ruling a Trikona house, that is the ninth house. So Mars is very auspicious for this particular Lagna chart and Mars will be a Yoga Karaka planet. Let's come to the fifth house. Now the fifth house is ruled by planet Jupiter because the sign that is denoting the fifth house is Sagittarius, all right. And Venus is also ruling the eighth house, that is Pisces, for this particular Lagna chart. So sorry, not Venus, sorry, Jupiter. So Jupiter is ruling the fifth house and the eighth house. So even though Jupiter is ruling the 8th house, as Jupiter is having the lordship of a Trikona house in this particular Lagna chart, so Jupiter will be a Yoga Karaka planet. And let's look at the 6th house. The 6th house is ruled by Saturn. And the 7th house is also ruled by Saturn. But here you have to notice, the lord of the 7th house is an enemy, is not having a friendly relationship with the Lagnesh. So Saturn in this particular Lagna chart will become Maraka. All right. Now one more planet that is remaining is Moon, and Moon is having the lordship of the 12th house. So Moon also becomes Maraka for Leo Lagna chart. All right. And the Ishth Dev for this particular Leo Lagna chart is the lord of the 5th house, that is Jupiter. All right. So you can worship Vishnu ji, because if you worship Vishnu ji, then Jupiter also becomes very positive. And for you, the Ishth Dev is Jupiter or Lord Vishnu. Now let's come to the next Lagna, that is the Virgo Lagna. So if you can pause the video and you can draw a Virgo Lagna chart, means the first house is ruled by Virgo, that is Mercury. So the second house is ruled by Libra, the third house is ruled by Scorpio, the fourth house is ruled by Sagittarius, the fifth house is ruled by Capricorn, the sixth house is ruled by Aquarius, the seventh house is ruled by Pisces, the eighth house is ruled by Aries, the ninth house is ruled by Taurus, the 10th house is ruled by Gemini, the 11th house is ruled by Cancer, and the 12th house is ruled by Leo. All right. So let's understand the Yoga Karaka and the Maraka planets for Virgo Lagna. All right. All right. So the Lagnesh is itself is Mercury. So the Mercury will be definitely a Yoga Karaka planet for this particular Lagna chart. All right. Now the second house is ruled by Venus, and the Venus is having a friendly relationship with Mercury. So Venus will also become a Yoga Karaka for Virgo Lagna chart. The third house is ruled by Mars because it is Scorpio. Now Mars is having a lordship of a neutral house, of a kind of an auspicious house, that is third house, but also Mars is having a lordship, rulership of the 8th house. So Mars is not having auspicious locations for this particular Lagna chart. So Mars will become a Maraka for Virgo Lagna. All right. Now let's look at the 4th house. The 4th house is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is also ruling the 7th house. So Jupiter over here is forming a Kendra Adhipati Yoga or a Dosh. So Jupiter will be Yoga Karaka if Jupiter is not placed in the 6th house or 8th house or the 12th house of the horoscope. So you can mention Jupiter in the Yoga Karaka column itself, but that Yoga Karaka will convert into a Maraka because it is having a Kendra Adhipati Dosh if Jupiter is badly placed in the 6th house, 8th house and 12th house, and that same Jupiter is not getting Ast, combust by sun, and the same Jupiter is not having any good Raj Yogas. All right. And that same Jupiter is also not exalted. So under such circumstance, that Jupiter will become a Maraka. Now let's look at the 5th house. So now the 5th house is ruled by Capricorn, that is Saturn. So Saturn is having the lordship of the 5th house, also the 6th house. As Saturn is having a lordship of one Trikona house, so Saturn will be a Yoga Karaka planet for Virgo Lagna. All right. Now let's come to Venus. Venus, I had already said, I had already discussed about Venus. It is a Yoga Karaka Graha. Which particular planets are remaining? Moon. All right. So Moon in this particular Lagna chart will be a Maraka. All right. Because see, Moon is having the lordship of one particular house, that is the 11th house, that is also sometimes not considered to be that good because it is a Karaka of small diseases. All right. And here Moon is also an enemy of the Lagnesh, that is Mercury. So Moon over here will be a Maraka planet. All right. And Sun will also be a Maraka planet because Sun is also having the lordship of one house, and that house is the 12th house. All right, that is not a great house. That is itself a bad house. Okay, so I have discussed about all the 7 planets for Virgo Lagna. Now let's come to the Libra Lagna. So you can pause the video and you can draw a Libra Lagna chart. So the first house is Libra, that is ruled by planet Venus. The second house is ruled by Scorpio, third house by Sagittarius, fourth house by Capricorn, fifth house by Aquarius, sixth house by Pisces, seventh house by Aries, eighth house by Taurus, ninth house by Gemini, 10th house by Cancer, 11th house by Leo, and the 12th house by Virgo. So let's understand what are the Yoga Karaka and what are the Maraka planets for Libra Lagna. So Lagnesh itself will be a Yoga Karaka for Libra Lagna. So you can write in the Yoga Karaka column, you can write Venus because Venus is the Lagnesh and Lagnesh is always auspicious. The second house, okay, so here I had already repeated about this particular point. Even though Lagnesh or any of the Trikona houses, the lord of the Trikona houses is having the lordship of either of the 6th house or the 8th house or the 12th house, that particular lord will always be auspicious because it is the Lagnesh itself and it is the lord of either of the Trikona houses 1, 5 and 9. Generally, then the placement of the planet will matter also to be for that particular planet to be stated or to be labeled as a complete Yoga Karaka or a Maraka. So I had discussed about this also in the previous classes. Let's look at the second house. Now the second house, that is Scorpio, is ruled by Mars, and that Mars is an enemy or is not having a friendly relationship with Venus. So Mars in this particular Lagna chart will be a Maraka. The third house is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is also having the lordship of 6th house. So lordship of 2 houses, 3rd house and 6th house is not considered great. So Jupiter in this particular Lagna chart will be considered as Maraka. Okay, now let's look at the 4th house. The 4th house and the 5th house is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn in this particular Lagna chart is also very auspicious because Saturn is having the lordship of a Kendra house and as well as a Trikona house, the 4th house and the 5th house. So Saturn is having a Yoga Karaka status for Libra Lagna. The 6th house, I've already discussed about the 6th house because it is Pisces and it is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is a Maraka Graha or a Maraka planet for Libra Lagna chart. The 7th house I've already also discussed because see, both the 2nd house and the 7th house are ruled by Mars, and definitely Mars is an enemy of the Lagnesh, that is a Venus in this particular case in the Libra Lagna. So Mars is a Maraka. Let's look at what are the planets remaining. Okay, so Mercury in this horoscope, in this particular Lagna chart, will also be a Yoga Karaka, because Mercury is having the lordship of a Trikona house, that is the 9th house, ruled by Gemini. So irrespective of the fact that Mercury also has the lordship of the 12th house over here, that is ruled by Virgo, but as Mercury is having the lordship of a Trikona house, that is the 9th house, Mercury is a Yoga Karaka planet for this particular Lagna chart. Moon is also a Yoga Karaka planet, because Moon is having a Kendra house lordship, that is the 10th house, very auspicious. And Sun in this particular horoscope is considered to be a Samgraha, alright? So you have to note it down. So I have covered all the 7 planets for Libra Lagna also. Now let's go to the Scorpio Lagna, alright? So you can pause the video and you can draw a Scorpio Lagna chart. So the first house is ruled by Scorpio. The second house is ruled by Sagittarius. The third house is ruled by Capricorn. The fourth house is ruled by Aquarius. The fifth house is ruled by Pisces. The sixth house is ruled by Aries. The seventh house is ruled by Taurus. The eighth house is ruled by Gemini. The ninth house is ruled by Cancer. The 10th house is ruled by Leo. The 11th house is ruled by Virgo. And the 12th house is ruled by Libra. Alright. So let's understand what are the Yoga Karaka and what are the Maraka planets for Scorpio Lagna. Okay, so in Scorpio Lagna, the Lagnesh will always be a Yoga Karaka. So here the Lagnesh, that is Mars, is a Yoga Karaka planet for Scorpio Lagna. So you can see Mars also has the lordship of the 6th house, but Lagnesh, as it is also a Trikona house, it is the Lagnesh itself. Mars has the Yoga Karaka status for Scorpio Lagna. The second house is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter is... Okay, just one more thing. I think I'll just go back to the Libra Lagna for one particular moment, because I had not discussed about the Isht Dev for Libra Lagna. So the Isht Dev for Libra Lagna is the lord of the 5th house, that is the lord of the planet ruling Aquarius, that is Saturn. So Lord Saturn is the Isht Dev for Libra Lagna. So if you worship Lord Saturn, if you are very much devoted to Lord Saturn, it will be very auspicious for you, because Saturn is the Isht Dev for Libra Lagna. Alright. So you can chant the Bij mantra for Saturn, the Libra Lagna ascendants. That will always be auspicious for you. Now let's coming back to the Scorpio Lagna. So the second house is ruled by Jupiter, because it is Sagittarius, and the lord of the second house, that is Jupiter, is having a friendly relationship with the Lagnesh, that is Mars. So Jupiter will be a Yoga Karaka planet for Scorpio Lagna. Jupiter also has the lordship of a Trikona house, that is the 5th house. Alright. So Jupiter has some good placements for Scorpio Lagna chart. Let's look at the third house. Now the third house and the fourth house both are ruled by Saturn. So Saturn in this particular Lagna chart will be a Samgraha, a Sam planet. Alright. The 5th house is ruled by Jupiter, and I had already discussed Jupiter is a Yoga Karaka planet for Scorpio Lagna. 6th house is ruled by Mars. Mars is a Yoga Karaka planet because Mars is the Lagnesh itself in Scorpio Lagna. The 7th house is ruled by Taurus. So the lord of the 7th house is an enemy, not having a friendly relationship with the Lagnesh, that is Mars. So Venus in this particular Lagna chart will be a Maraka Maraka planet. Now, Mercury also has the lordship of not so great. The overall placement or the lordship of Mercury is not so great because Mercury is having the lordship of the 6th house and the 11th house. All right. So Mercury in this particular Lagna chart, Scorpio Lagna, will also be a Maraka planet. All right. Moon is having a lordship of a Trikona house, that is the 9th house. So Moon is Yoga Karaka for Scorpio Lagna. Sun is also having a lordship of a fantastic house, that is the 10th house. That is the Kendra house, the house of karma, the house of your profession, the house of your deeds, your efforts, your hard work. So Sun is a Yoga Karaka planet for Scorpio Lagna. All right. So all right. So let's look at Sagittarius. So for a Sagittarius Lagna, let's look at what are the Yoga Karaka planets and what are the Maraka planets. So you can pause the video and you can draw a Sagittarius Lagna chart. All right. So in the Sagittarius Lagna, the first house is ruled by Sagittarius. The second house is ruled by Capricorn. The third house is ruled by Aquarius. The fourth house is ruled by Pisces. The fifth house is ruled by Aries. The sixth house is ruled by Taurus. The seventh house is ruled by Gemini. The eighth house is ruled by Cancer. The ninth house is ruled by Leo. The 10th house is ruled by Virgo. The 11th house is ruled by Libra. And the 12th house is ruled by Scorpio. All right. All right. So let's look at the Yoga Karaka and the Maraka planets. So the Lagnesh is Jupiter, and the Lagnesh, that is Jupiter, will be definitely a Yoga Karaka planet for Sagittarius Lagna. The second house lord is Saturn, because the second house is Capricorn. Now the lord of the second house, that is Saturn, is having an enemy relationship, not a friendly relationship with the Lagnesh, that is Jupiter. So Saturn in this particular Lagna chart will be a Maraka planet. So the third house, second and the third house, both are ruled by Saturn. The fourth house is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is definitely a Yoga Karaka planet. So again, I had discussed about this particular point in the previous class. The Kendra Adhipati Yog or the Kendra Adhipati Dosh doesn't apply for a Lagnesh. Means even if a Lagnesh has the lordship of two Kendra houses, Lagnesh doesn't fall in the category of a Kendra Adhipati Yoga, all right, or a Dosh. The fifth house is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is also having the lordship of the 12th house. Sorry, not Mercury, so I'm so sorry. Mars, all right, because the fifth house is ruled by Aries and the 12th house is ruled by Scorpio. But as Mars is having the lordship of a Trikona house, that is the fifth house, so despite of the fact that Mars has the lordship of the 12th house, as Mars has the lordship of a fifth house, Trikona house, Mars is the Yoga Karaka planet for Sagittarius Lagna, all right. Now let's look at the sixth house. The sixth house is ruled by Venus, and Venus also has the lordship of the 11th house. So Venus in this particular Lagna chart will be a Maraka planet, all right. Now the sixth house is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury also has the lordship of the 10th house. So Mercury over here is falling under a Kendra Adhipati Yoga. Now whether Mercury will be completely Yoga Karaka or whether Mercury will have Maraka effects, it depends on the placement of Mercury, and I had discussed it multiple times by now. When does a planet have a Kendra Adhipati Yoga, that is positive, or when does a planet have a Kendra Adhipati Dosh, that is negative, all right. So beside Mercury, you can write Kendra, Adipati, Dosh or Yoga. That depends on the placement of Mercury. And I have already discussed it in detail about the placement of such planets. Now, Moon also has the lordship of one particular house, and that is a bad house. That is the 8th house of this particular horoscope Lagna chart. So Moon will also be a Maraka planet for Sagittarius Lagna. Sun is having the lordship of one house, that is a Trikona house, and 9th house, that is the 9th house. So Sun is having a very good placement, 9th house, Trikona house. So Sun will be a Yoga Karaka planet for Sagittarius Lagna. Okay, so I have covered all the 7 planets for this Sagittarius Lagna too. The Isht Dev for Sagittarius Lagna is the lord of the 5th house, that is the planet ruling Aries, that is Mars. So the Isht Dev for Sagittarius Lagna is Mangal Dev, Mars. So you can worship Hanumanji, Lord Hanuman, to get very auspicious effects. And for the Scorpio Lagna, I think I had missed. The Isht Dev is the lord of the 5th house for Scorpio Lagna, that is the planet ruling Pisces, that is Jupiter. So you can worship, means the person who has an ascendant of Scorpio, who has Scorpio Lagna, needs to worship Lord Vishnu, because it is highly recommended. If you worship the Isht Dev, you will always get very positive and very auspicious effects. So I think I will just keep this video till this particular Lagna, alright? And there are 3 more Lagnas remaining, the Capricorn Lagna, the Aquarius Lagna and the Pisces. 3 more Lagna charts we will be discussing in the next video. That is, what are the Yoga Karaka planets and what are the Maraka planets for Capricorn, Aquarius and Pisces, alright? So that's it for this particular video. I hope you're enjoying it, and it's very essential for you to start watching my videos from class 1, then go to class 2, then class 3, and then so on and so forth. You go step by step. So all of a sudden, if you're watching today's video, all of a sudden, if you will be watching my upcoming videos without watching my previous videos, you will not be understanding whatever terms, terminologies I will be using and discussing, alright? So it's very essential for you to be a perfect and an accurate practitioner of Vedic astrology. If you need to start watching my videos from class 1 itself, so that you will go step by step. Watch my videos again and again, because the more you will watch it, the more you will practice it, the better you will be, the better you will get in this science, in this skill of Vedic astrology, alright? Please subscribe to this particular channel, like this video, share this video, and also share your comments if you want me to answer any query, any doubt of yours related to this topic of Vedic astrology, alright? I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and take care.